Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, we're going to be starting a new series ranking the top 10 of every position in the NHL right now. And of course, today, as you already know, we're starting with goaltenders. Now, of course, you could go a lot of different ways for your top 10. Do you rely on past seasons? Do you rely on the 2018 season? Do you just rank it in 2018? But for these lists, for these upcoming lists, and for this list, of course, we're going to be mixing the both. So it's going to have a little bit of track record and also how the goaltenders played in 2018. So it's going to have a mixture of both. Of course, if we just had past experiences, Carey Price would automatically be number one, but because we're mixing in that 2018 season and we're mixing them both in, we have now a more mixed top 10, and Carey Price is certainly not number one. And of course, there's a lot of great goaltenders in the NHL that I couldn't include on this list. So of course, if you think I missed anyone that should be on this list, make sure you tell me down below. At number 10, we're going to start off with the LA Kings with Jonathan Quick. And at age 32, he has 2 cups already in his career. He won the 11 and 12 Conn Smythe, basically carrying the LA Kings back then. In the 17-18 season, he played 64 games, had a 2.40 goals against average, with a 9.21 save percentage, and was really one of the more underrated players this season with the LA Kings. The defense is good with LA, but I don't think it's as good as people give it credit for, and Quick has been fantastic for a long time. He definitely has put up the numbers so far. In his career, he's played 556 games, had a 2.28 goals against average. I think that's the lowest on this list, with a 9.16 save percentage, and really has been fantastic for quite a while. And after that 2012 Cup run, I think a lot of people kind of forget about him a little bit, but he's still one of the more solid goaltenders in the league. Of course, one of my favorites in the league, if not my favorite goalie in the league. So I have a little bit of a bias towards him, towards his style, which I just love him. I love the type of goaltender that Jonathan Quick is, and of course, he's been doing it finally for a long time, making career highlight saves left and right. The New York Rangers, and this is where the track record comes in. It was just based on track record. Of course, he would have been way higher up, but at number 9, of course, with the New York Rangers at age 36, still trucking along. Of course, he won the 11-12 Vezina. In 17-18, he played 63 games, had 2.98 goals against the average with a 9.15 save percentage, and this season was really an anomaly for Lundqvist. If you watch New York Rangers games towards the end of the season, he was just dominating. I remember there was like a game versus Calgary where he had to face I think it was 55 shots or something like that, and I think he had a shutout or something. New York Rangers defense, of course, was terrible because they were rebuilding. We all know that, but Lundqvist didn't even know that. He wasn't even in tune with that. He was still lining it up, and a 9.15 save percentage, I just don't think it gives him justice. He was playing fantastic during the whole year, and of course when the Rangers were rebuilding, in that rebuilding mode, he had to face it, but was still playing fantastic. So to me, he certainly has a track record, but he didn't play bad at all in 2018. I felt like he had a very solid season. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how he progresses if he keeps going in the next couple of seasons, how he plays there. But I feel like he had an amazing season in 2018 with what he was faced with and the defense that was around him. At number 8, I have Braden Holtby, and of course, he won the Cup this season with Washington Capitals. Congratulations to him. But at number 8, I still have him there. He's not one of my favorite goaltenders in the league. I like him, but, I have some concerns with him. Of course, with the Washington Capitals, age 28, and he, of course, won the Cup with the Washington Capitals. He won the 2015 and 2016 Vezina. In the 17-18 season, he played 54 games, 299 goals against average with a 9.07 save percentage, and of course, had a 9.22 playoff save percentage with the Washington Capitals this season, and really bounced back after, the starter job was basically taken from him with Grubauer, but of course he stole it right back. In his career, he's played 361 games, has had a 2.41 goals against average with a 9.19 save percentage. Not bad numbers at all, and very, very solid. Anaheim Ducks, I feel like he's one of the more underrated guys in the NHL right now at age 25. This past season, the 17-18 season, he played 60 games, had a 2.43 goals against average with a .926 save percentage. In his career, he played 178 games so far, had a 2.29 goals against average with a 9.26 or 9.23 save percentage. But this season, it was really a weird season for him. Kind of like Henrik Lundqvist, not as bad, but Anaheim defense was really injured and battled throughout most of the year. They finally got a lot more healthy towards the year, and then they lost Cam Fowler, of course. But it felt like they never were really healthy throughout the whole year, and of course John Gibson had the battle for that. They were allowing a ton of shots, and it didn't look all that great, but Gibson was stealing the show. He was fantastic throughout the whole year, and was really one of the more underrated guys throughout the whole season, just because he was battling, and was one of the main reasons why Anaheim even made the playoffs in the first place, because that defense was not doing him too much favors. At number 6, I have Carey Price, and of course, this is where it comes in to the track record plus 2018 stats. Again, if it was track record, he would be number 1 for sure, but of course, we're factoring in the 2018 stats for this list. So Carey Price is in the top 6. Of course, the Montreal Canadiens at age 30, he won the 14-15 Hart and the 14-15 Vezina in the same year. And the 17-18 season, of course, that's where the troubles began. 49 games played, 3.11 goal against average, with a 900 save percentage. Now, I already made a video about this, of course, a few days ago. You can go check that out as well, but of course he had a lot of troubles. The defense was not great in front of him, and of course he didn't play all that great. He was injured for a little bit. Overall, it was a pretty disastrous season for him. In his career, though, it gets a little bit better, of course. 558 games played, 2.46 goals against average, with a 918 save percentage, and of course, he's been one of the more dominant goaltenders for quite a while. And this season, I think he's just an anomaly. I think he'll get right back to it, but Carey Price, of course, didn't have the best season this season, but I think he'll do a lot better next season, of course, repeat what he's done. Carey Price, of course, I don't think there's too much to worry about. He has a talent. I don't think he's declining quite yet. I think he'll be right back there. Now at number 5, I have Andrei Vasilevskiy of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Of course, at age 23, still pretty young at this point for a lot of goaltenders. In the 17-18 season, he played 65 games, had a 2.62 goals against average, with a 920 save percentage. Of course, he was the Vezina favorite for most of the year until Pekka Rinne, of course, kept going, and kept getting better throughout the whole year. Of course, Vasilevskiy went down. But the big thing for me is that he didn't get much help at all from his backups. He was tired, of course. Peter Budaj was absolute crap with the Tampa Bay Lightning last season. Just terrible. He could not back up to save the life for Andrei Vasilevskiy, and of course, he didn't get much rest because of that. And I feel like that's what factored into it. You know, he wasn't that great towards the end of the season just because he was not able to get any rest at all. And I felt like the Tampa Bay Lightning were overusing him. It looked a lot better in the playoffs, but of course, it didn't go all that way, only going to the Eastern Conference Final, but still was one of the better players there in the playoffs. But even though he did play pretty well in the playoffs, of course, that 920 save percentage is not that great on paper, but when you see that, of course, he didn't have a backup goaltender to save his life, but he was one of the favorites for the Vezina to start off the year, and I knew it was pretty close towards the end of it. So I feel like Andrei Vasilevskiy, you know, I still think he might be a little bit overrated, just a little bit, but I feel like he's still one of the best goaltenders in the league at number 5 here. Vasilevskiy is my favorites, and I feel like he definitely deserves that. And of course, in his short-ish career so far, he's played 155 games, had a 2.61 goals against average, with a .917 goal save percentage, which overall is amazing. Now at number 4, I have Corey Crawford of the Chicago Blackhawks at age 33. Of course, he's had 2 cups so far. 17-18 season, he's played 28 games. Of course, that was when he got injured. I think it was vertigo that he had. It might factor into the next season, but he was not able to play that many games. And of course, it seemed like once he got injured, the Blackhawks fell off that cliff. But in the season, of course, he had a 2.27 goal against average, with a .929 save percentage, and he was really carrying the Blackhawks. I mean, their defense was just terrible throughout the whole season, but Corey Crawford was showing up in spades, and he was one of the best goaltenders for that stretch that he was healthy, and he was definitely the front runner there. For Chicago, just once they had that injury, of course, they fell off a cliff. Their defense couldn't sustain it, and of course, they didn't really have a back goaltender at all, so their season just kind of fell off. With Corey Crawford, he's one of the best goaltenders in the league, and he's shown that, and as a Stars fan, it's a tough pill to swallow, but he's stolen games many times against the Stars before, and I can definitely admit that. With Corey Crawford, I think that he's one of the best goaltenders in the league. He was carrying Chicago for quite a while, as we could see, and obviously once they got injured, they fell off, so we know that he's pretty valuable to their team, and we know that he's one of the best goaltenders in the league because of what he's shown, and the defense, of course, for Chicago is fading, so he's going to have an even tougher job next season. Now here's where a little bit of the controversies begin. At number 3, I have Frederik Andersen of the Toronto Maple Leafs at age 28. Now, why do I have him this high up? Well, let me just explain for a little bit. In the 17-18 season, he played 66 games, had a 2.81 goals against average, and a 918 save percentage. Not the best numbers in the league as you compared to other guys who played this season, but of course, I feel like he was I feel like he was the most underrated goaltender in the league last season. And even I'm not like Toronto is my 4th favorite team, but I'm not really biased towards them. I'm more in line of bias against them at sometimes. I'm a pessimistic Leafs fan, you could say. But for Frederik Andersen, I feel like he's the most underrated goaltender in the league. And again, kind of like a John Gibson. Leafs defense was not great. Can we just admit that? It was not great throughout the whole season. And you saw games where Frederik Andersen would steal the show, 50 plus shots some games. He would steal it. It seems like he was even better when he got like 50 shots against him. He was a brilliant goaltender, and even in the playoffs against Boston, he was arguably one of the best goaltender and arguably one of the better players throughout the whole series. Leafs defense is an offensive-minded group. Let's be honest here. And they give up a lot of shots, and Frederik Andersen is going to have a tough job next season as well, but this season he had a lot of shots against him. I think he was leading the NHL in saves overall for a long time, and of course, kind of like Andre Vasilevsky, he didn't get much rest. I mean, like McElhinney went in for some games, but Frederik Andersen played a lot of games throughout the first half of the season. He didn't get too much rest, but played fantastic too. For the Leafs, I think that they would have been a lot lower in the standings if Frederik Andersen wasn't on that team. If Frederik Andersen had a lesser season, Leafs, maybe, I think they would have made the playoffs, but I don't think it would have been as close. I think it would have been pretty close. With Frederik Andersen, I feel like he was the MVP of that team last season. Number 2, I have Sergei Bobrovsky of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Of course, he is a 2-time Vezina winner. Pretty nice. At 17-18 season, he played 65 games at a 2.42 goals against average, with a .9 at 21 save percentage, which is pretty in line of his career numbers. He's played 385 games, had 2.44 goals against average, and a .9 20 save percentage. And he has just been solid for quite a long time. He's been one of the best goaltenders for like 5 years now. And with the Columbus Blue Jackets, of course, they got a really solid defense, but Bobrovsky does fantastic every night as well. He's one of the best goaltenders in the league just because of what he's able to save. He does a lot of saves that other goaltenders just can't do. Bobrovsky, I feel like he's been one of the most solid goaltenders for a while, and one of the best ones. I feel like he definitely deserves the accolades so far. It's a shame, of course, that he couldn't get past the first round out of all this time with Columbus, but I feel like he'll eventually do that. But I feel like he's one of the best goaltenders in the league right now, just for what he's done and how consistently he's been. Now, at number 1, I have Graviteh of the Nashville Predators, and yes, he is too good right now, but it's not because he won the Vezina this year, but he did win it this year, the 2018 season. Of course, it's not that reason, though. In the 17-18 season, he played 59 games, had 2.31 goals against average with a .927 save percentage. His career, he's played 567 games, had a 2.37 goals against average with a .919 save percentage. And even with this season, of course, Nashville has an amazing defense. Let's not forget that. An amazing team around him. But Graviteh is a fantastic goaltender and one of the best in the league, if not the best. Of course, I think he's the best right now with these mixed, but I feel like, of course, he's one of the best. He's shown that consistent play for the last few years. He definitely deserves to be one of the best out there, and I think he is the best. He's one of the more consistent goaltenders. Of course, he's getting there in age. He's at age 35, so it's going to be interesting to see when he declines, but he obviously hasn't yet. I mean, 927 save percentage this year, and I don't think he's getting it bad anytime soon. I think he'll, slowly decline, but I still think that he's a fantastic goaltender. Of course, winning the Vezina at age 35 is really impressive too. Of course, Graviteh is an amazing goaltender, even though he has a fantastic defense around him. When he needs to make saves, he always makes them. It seems like he's the clutch goaltender. Maybe not in the playoffs this season, but I feel like he's one of those guys that always makes the saves that he needs to, and always does fantastic. And with him, Graviteh has been one of the best goaltenders in the league for a while. He's been consistent, he's been healthy most of the time, but he's been just a very solid guy, and I feel like he's gonna unappreciated for just his overall capability to be consistent throughout all these years. He's been one of the more unappreciated guys, and I feel like in this list, I'm gonna give him the credit that he deserves. But with Graviteh, he's just shown the dominant force the last couple of years. He's shown that he's taken over the NHL. When it comes to goalie stats, he's just been dominant, and he's been fantastic. And for me, he's been one of the best goaltenders in the last few years, and has been consistent throughout most of his career. I mean, just looking at my honorable mentions, of course, you got Marc-Andre Fleury, who had like a .930 save percentage in like 40 games this season. You have Connor Hellebuck, who was fantastic. I need to see a little bit more of him. That's why he's not on this list. I need to see more than 1 year. For me, he could be one of those goaltenders that has one fantastic season, and we all think he's the best goaltender in the world, or one of the best goaltenders in the world, and then he drops off, kind of like a Matt Murray or like a Cam Talbot. Devin Dubnyk, of course, who's been solid throughout the last few years as well. Martin Jones, Matt Murray, as I mentioned before, Roberto Luongo. There's a lot of guys on this list, not even on this list, that are definitely fantastic goaltenders that I just couldn't include because there's only 10 spots. Now, of course, this is the first of a little mini-series here, counting down the 10 players of every position. Of course, we're starting here with goaltenders. Next up, we'll probably be doing defensemen. I don't know when that'll come out, but I feel like we'll start out with or go next with defensemen. But of course, with goaltenders, I feel like those are the best place to start. Of course, if you did not agree with my list, let me know what your list is down below. Let me know what players I missed, who do you think should be in here that was not, and of course, all the players that you think should be in. But that is going out for today, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe. Comment below what you think of my top 10. What do you think of yours? What is your top 10? What do you think of goaltending in the NHL right now? What do you think of the state of goaltending? I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.